Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's unique Teja session. Today, we are going to do an activity-based session after a long time. I think we had a couple in the past, but I'm really excited when it's hands-on activity. And we have an expert guest speaker today, which is also very exciting. So let me start by telling you a bit about Teja. So I think a lot of you have already attended sessions in the past, but if you haven't, then a brief introduction about Teja. So Teja was born last year when COVID hit us all, and we were experiencing the novelty of work from home and being isolated and not being able to meet family and friends. We decided to use mindfulness as a tool to connect everyone, use meditation techniques, mainly dynamic meditation techniques that Jayanti, my sister, and myself have benefited from. And we decided to share some of those tools and techniques with our audience. And I believe some of you have been able to use those tools and have benefited from it. And I'm always eager to hear your feedback and connect with you. So moving on to today's topic. So today's topic is mindfulness through art. So I think most people will agree that art is therapeutic. It's a beautiful medium to express. It is relaxing. It is colorful, creative, and a very enjoyable process for most people. There may be some people who think, oh, I'm terrible at art. And I don't know if it's creative. It's probably putting me under stress because I'm not good enough. But we're going to leave that behind today. Leave all your beliefs behind and just come with an open mind and embrace this session. That's all I'll say. A lot of people have doubts, but I know that you've probably seen coloring books and therapy. The kids always enjoy a box of crayons and just starting from a very young age when they probably don't even know how to write, just putting colors on paper is therapeutic. And there's a lot of, lately, in the past 2-3 years at least, there's been a lot of adult coloring therapy books as well. So even if you're probably not so good at drawing, filling in colors into an already drawn template is also very joyful. So today's session is going to be talking to a guest speaker who has heaps of experience drawing using art for calming and meditation, and teaching us how to do that as well. So I'm really excited to welcome our guest speaker. And before I introduce her, I will let Jayanti, my sister, also tell us a little bit briefly about herself and what she thinks about art as therapy.
Thanks, Kalyani. Yeah, I think art, as you said rightly, is definitely a way of expressing yourself and a way of it's therapy in itself. I'm a big fan of journaling, like journaling through artwork, and oftentimes I've been told by my therapist that it's better. It's sometimes you just want to express yourself well, and you can do it better in a picture than with words. And so this particular form of therapy that she does called parts therapy, in which you have to like visualize different parts of your personality. And I find it so playful and engaging to just like draw different parts of my personality. It's much better than like penning down my thoughts. It's a form of expression. So, and definitely I feel like having gone back to pursuing art as a hobby has been very, very beneficial for my mental health in many ways. So I'm really excited about what Akanksha has to offer to us today.
Thank you, Jayanti. So let me introduce Akanksha.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
I
Akanksha.
am Akanksha, and you can call me AK for this session, just for the ease. And oh, you've got a good introduction on me, Kalyani. Thank you.
I took the liberty of looking at your website, which I found really impressive, and I'm going to share it with our audience today. So do check out her website and all the lovely work that she has on there, and how you can access AK's classes as well. She has different classes. So what I like about AK is it's amazing how she balances her career and her passion, and how her passion has blossomed into something so amazing now. We'll be asking her a few more questions and chatting about that very soon. And in her spare time, she teaches people, and she's done corporate lessons as well. It's got an impressive list of clients, which is great, AK. And I think she's also been able to put her work on products. So we'll be chatting a bit more about that as well. So welcome, AK. We are so lucky to have you today. And thank you so much for your time and for offering to teach us a creative and calming activity.
No, thank you,
Welcome.
Kalyani, for having me here, because I have always admired you running the Teja webinars, because you have literally equipped people and helped them in dealing with such unpredictable times and keeping their calm as well. So hats off to you both. This initiative is really, really commendable.
Thank you, AK. So we'll keep the questions very candid. As you know, it's a chat, it's a conversation. Jayanti and I will ask you questions alternately. So let me ask Jayanti to ask the first question, which is on the slide, I guess.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people talk about how art is, it's all about being in the present moment, right? So when you're painting, when you're doing something, you're so mindful. And people always often say that art is a type of meditation to them. So tell us about your experience with art and how it has helped you in your mindfulness and like meditative, just becoming in that, staying in that zone where you're really in the present moment.
That is very true. Art is very meditative. So it's not just about picking up a brush and drawing or painting like a maestro. Art can be anything. It could be cleaning, it could be organizing, it could be cooking. Everything is an art. So I definitely feel that art is very therapeutic. It's very meditative, because you tend to forget about things. It's like when you're doing these activities, they just push the worries out of your mind, and you just focus on that one task, whether it is as simple as chopping vegetables, because it is something that you don't need an expertise in, and nobody is going to judge you on it. So like, I have never heard somebody being judged on how they diced an onion or a tomato. But it's very therapeutic, because you can be in that moment and you can just forget about everything. So I feel art in those terms is very meditative. And my experience with it has been that I started making art because I wanted to deal with my anxiety. And this was basically 5 years back, when I had moved from India to Australia, and everything was new. I felt vulnerable, everything was overwhelming. And then when I picked up a pen and started doodling and drawing in my notepad, I felt an immediate connection to myself. I felt myself slowing down. And, I'm an overthinker anyway. So I could really, shut off my mind for a while, take a break from all the worrying, and then just, connect with myself. So definitely art is something that you should pick up to deal with stress, to deal with your normal day-to-day life. We are just like moving at such a fast pace, and especially with COVID, everything is so unpredictable that you need that break in between to sort of just tell yourself that it's all right and nothing's gonna happen.
So true, whatever you said. And Kalyani will agree. We've had this discussion a few times about my chopping skills, which is definitely an art to me, at least. And I think you can find art in anything that you do. Often, with being a scientist, I've been science and art are seen as two separate things, but I find a lot of joy in mixing the two, with microscopy pictures, or like with just making figures for my journal paper. That's a form of art to me. So I like to incorporate those skills.
Yes, thanks, Jayanti. Thank you, Eka. I really loved how you called everything art, whether it's organizing, cleaning, decorating, chopping, cooking. Everything is a creative process, and I think sometimes, uh, you forget about what's worrying you and what you're going to do the next day or planning to do and how it will turn out. You're in the moment, so I think that really helps, and that's probably how it grounds you into being more calm and in the present, definitely. So let me ask you the next question. So, so you mentioned briefly that you started doodling and you got into art because you felt anxious at some point. So how did this actually make you feel calmer? And what was it exactly about drawing that put you in a relaxed state?
So it's actually very interesting. So the kind of artwork that I do, it's called the mandala art form, and it is basically bringing together different shapes in concentric patterns so that everything looks very symmetrical and it looks very pretty. So when I started doodling, when I started working on these patterns from my imagination, I realized that in making those intricate patterns, I was forgetting about things. I was keeping things aside to not worry about. And I was just focusing on this one thing, be it drawing a circle or a line. And then I realized that when you start doing something in a repetitive pattern, if I'm drawing a circle within a circle, which a mandala is all about, you sort of just focus on it and forget about everything else. So it all started from that point, that where I realized that when I was doing these repetitive patterns, my anxiety was sort of getting better. Over a period of a couple of months, I realized that whenever I used to feel anxious, the first thing I used to do was just flip the back of the notebook and start doodling, be it sitting in a meeting where I have to present and I'm nervous, or I'm just sort of just dealing with my overthinking mind and other worries in life. I would just start doodling. So then I realized that it had become like a defense mechanism for me, that whenever something is making me nervous or I'm anxious about something, I would just pick up the pen. And in that journey, I realized that this could be something which can be taught to people, and people who who think that art is something that they cannot do because they're not creative or they can't draw to save themselves. It is basically something that can be taught to them, because how difficult is it to draw a line, even if it is not straight? How does it matter? But if it can help you in sort of just forgetting everything and focusing on one small task of drawing that line, and it gives you that peace, that break from worrying. So that was the idea that triggered me in terms of teaching people, in terms of sharing this knowledge, how art can be therapeutic and art can actually fight stress for you. So that was the initial thought when I sort of felt that this is something that can be used to de-stress yourself and also have a me time. And then later on, I realized that while I was making these intricate patterns, you're focusing on some tricky bits. And when you tend to do that, when you focus on something, you hold your breath. And then I realized that I was doing some breathing exercises unknowingly while making this art. So you take a deep breath, you make a line, you draw a line, you draw an intricate pattern, and you're breathing very slowly during that time. And when you do it in a repetitive manner, you're doing those breathing exercises while making that art. So it became like a beautiful symphony of focus, of taking deep breaths, doing proper breathing exercises, holding your breath. And ultimately, after 15-20 minutes, you would start relaxing, like those people who experienced racing heart or palpitations. I've had a lot of students give me that feedback that while they just drew those patterns repetitively, they were able to relax themselves, and it just took them 15-20 minutes to do that. It's not that they need to practice this for hours. And interestingly, one of my students had fear of flying. So I remember when this was before COVID times, and she was my initial student. And she told me that after taking my class, she took a flight from here to Brisbane, and she did not fear at all. Like, she took out her notebook, she started drawing during that time when she was feeling nervous, and it was my reward when I got that email from her saying that she did not fear at all. She did not get afraid at all, and she was doing fine. She in the entire journey, she was just fine because she was doodling in her notepad. And that was when I realized that there is some merit behind this. I'm not imagining things, and I need to tell more people about this.
Fantastic. That's amazing. I mean, anything that you try to do as much as you try to do without expectation, but when you hear what it does to people, I think you're right. It's the greatest reward. It really is the greatest reward. So thank you for sharing that story as well. I will let Jayanti ask the next question.
Yeah, before I ask the next question, I think just wanting to share something similar that your student shared about the fear of flying. But I think it was more to me, it was more like an incident Kalyani will remember very well. I was supposed to fly to Sydney, but I had to come back from the airport 5 times. And it was like delaying flights all the time. So it was like 2 days I was stuck in Brisbane, and I was waiting to see my family in Sydney. And it was so frustrating. And I think in like just a calm meditative setting, I had to draw something. I just felt like it was a release when I drew something about it. A similar story when I was like waiting for my one of my journal papers to come back from revisions. And often when you submit a paper, you get like reviewers' comments. So somebody's reviewing the paper and they are all anonymous. So you don't know who they are. And sometimes it's so frustrating because you're done with that paper, you want to finish it off, but you're still thinking about something like that in your head. And one day I just decided like, I'll imagine what they look like. I'll imagine what they would be saying to me. It's all about like using your mind, your imagination, and transforming it into something concrete. I think that's definitely something that gets you out of your headspace. Like you said, you're an overthinker. Who is not? All of us are. So I think it's definitely something that has helped me in the past with anxiety, with depression, all sorts of little things. I used a paint by numbers kit one day, and I think that was also like a cool, fun activity to do. Yeah, so I'll move on to the next question without wasting too much time. So tell us more about the cosmic dots. And there's a lot of spirituality in your art, right? Because you're doing mandalas basically. And so when did you feel that art was your calling? Like that was your purpose? And so tell us more about that.
So piggybacking over my last response, it all actually started from when I realized that the art was helping me deal with my anxiety and stress issues. And then there was one bit where I took a class which was actually coincidental. I wasn't planning to go into teaching people. I was still contemplating over the idea whether I should take classes or, just randomly talk about things, whether I should start writing a blog. I was still going through different ideas, but then somebody just came up to me and said that we've seen you doodling in your notepad, and we would like to learn this art form. And I was a little nervous because I hadn't planned anything like this, but I thought that, okay, might as well give it a try. So I did that first session with that person. And I realized in halfway of the process, that person themselves like gave them the feedback that I haven't even started drawing the mandala yet, but I am feeling so relaxed already. And in the whole process of drawing mandalas, because there's a lot of geometry involved in the whole process, we start with making a grid, which is basically drawing some lines and some circles together. And then we put down the shapes in those geometrical shapes. So I realized that if a person is, just feeling relaxed after just doing those geometrical shapes, like drawing those circles and drawing those lines to make that grid, it is going to be a very different experience for them when they finish the mandala. Because when I am doing this for the first time, my experience is going to be different. I might be able to relate with it in a different way, but I needed that feedback from somebody. And when I realized that, the whole activity was very relaxing for them, that is when the idea struck that I should actually start teaching this. And blogs and videos and other stuff might not be the right platform or the medium to talk about this art form and how much it can help you in your day-to-day lives. So that was the beginning of Cosmic Dots. That's how the whole idea started. And then when I started giving classes to different kind of people, it all started with one-on-one people in the beginning, but then later on, I started giving classes to different groups. And the kind of feedback that I was receiving from them was very positive. And I felt that, this is like a sure short thing. It's not something that I am sort of, just believing in. People are seeing benefit out of it. So that helped a lot with the idea of teaching people. And now I've sort of just, expanded to different sort of classes for mandalas. For example, like Kalyani mentioned, that I do it on different products. For me, it's like anything which has a blank surface. It's like I just feel like it's calling out to me, and I need to put a design on it. But while I was doing that, I realized that when I started teaching people how to put different designs on different products, it was not just about decorating the item. It was about playing around with colors. And that's how I built a knowledge that people find a lot of relaxation when they are putting color over something, or when they are just playing with different mediums like acrylic paints or watercolor paints and all of that. And then I started reading up a lot more on color theory and how it helps with, sort of dealing with anxiety and de-stressing somebody. So there are cases where people just pour colors over things, and that is therapeutic for them. Or like you said, Kalyani, that people color into these coloring books, and now these coloring books are available for adults as well, which has a lot of mandala patterns in them as well. So it became like a mix of things. Like you can draw your own patterns, you can do that as a relaxation activity, or you can put paint in it and use it as your own design to paint over it. And that just gives you a very I did it kind of a feeling, that you achieved something, you made something from scratch, and then brought it to a closure. So that's also something that art makes you believe in. Like you feel good about yourself, and you feel that you are sort of just putting everything from within you into that design, or into that splash of color, or just taking a crayon and coloring a shape or a portion on a blank piece of paper. So that's where the whole idea sort of just built into different directions, like mandalas, or just color therapy, or just doodling mindlessly, or with a mindful intention.
Thanks, AK. That's amazing. That's a great story, and I would highly recommend that you do this particular class that AK has on her website. She actually teaches you to draw a mandala on a used wine bottle, and then turn it into this really, fantastic looking lamp. And from coming from a sustainability background, I I think I love this concept, and I'm sure you'll agree as well, that the bottle that you've finished and enjoyed the drink and you're going to chuck it away, imagine reusing that to make this really cool product. And like AK said, the feeling of I did it and I started something from scratch and gave it closure is something really amazing. And you can put it on your like coffee table or on your side table, and when people visit you, they'll just look at it and go, wow, this is so unique, and you can always tell them that you made it. So I think that's a great class for people to join in. And I think we've got the last question now, and then the exciting part, which is the activity after that question. So as we talked at the beginning, AK, there's lots of people who say that, they're not good at art. They just can't draw even a circle. So what advice can you give to people who think they're not really good, and they don't know if they judge themselves too much about even drawing a line or a circle, how can they actually use mindful art for relaxation or meditation?
I think just people just need to be more kind to themselves. We just put ourselves into these, I would say, stencils that we need to look like something. We need to behave like something, and everything has to be perfect. Like I said in the beginning, art is in everything. Art is in cooking, chopping. Art is in even taking photographs. Everyone knows how to take selfies, right? They post their lives on Facebook and Instagram. Isn't that art? Like to get a composition in that frame and having a beautiful picture on your Instagram or your Facebook, that's also art. So I don't agree when people say that they are not good at art or they might not be able to draw or something. They just need to find their own niche, like something that they enjoy, something that they find joy in. So it could be anything. In terms of what advice I would give to people is that everything doesn't need to be perfect. There are some things that you need to do just for yourself. You don't need to post everything on a social media. You can just doodle on a piece of paper and keep it in your journal or keep it in your diary. And sometime later when you look at it, it will remind you that you started that and you created it out of nothing. So I just feel that just be kind to yourself and just pick up a pen if you want to doodle, or just get a bottle of paint and pour it over a used bottle or a cup that you would have used. And there are other things that you can do, but you just need to be kind to yourself and do things for your own self. That's the biggest thing that I want to tell people. And that's what I tell my students as well, that don't do something just because you want to show it to somebody, or you want, sort of, what's the word? What's the correct word? I'm missing that correct word, but basically to get that kind of acknowledgement that you've done this really well. You don't have to do everything for that. So I think we need to take a step back and sort of analyze and introspect over things, that you need me time, you need to do certain things just for yourself, and that doesn't have to be for everybody, that doesn't have to be for everyone's eyes. That's the only advice I'll give to anyone who thinks that they can't draw, or they sort of go hard on themselves.
Thanks, AK. And I think what you mentioned earlier about mandalas being drawn on a grid, sometimes when the grid is already drawn, there's some guideline there already. If you're say, you just want to shade 4 squares, or you want to draw a circle that connects the 4 squares, that's pretty easy to follow. And then once you start connecting those dots just with lines or shapes, you'll surprise yourself to what you've created. That's very true.
That's very true.
Yeah. And you were saying you're looking for the word. You don't need external validation all the time.
Yeah,
that's true. You need to do something for yourself. And like you said, creating something on a blank sheet of paper, when you draw something and then you come back to it, isn't it amazing that your brain can actually generate this image before you even put it to paper, and then it's there for people to see and yourself to see more than anything else.
Exactly. That's very true. Yeah, so I think people just need to just find something that they find joy in and just do it.
Yeah, I think that's where also the beliefs come in, where people have these beliefs. Maybe as a child they drew something and someone commented that, oh, that's not looking good, or that's not symmetrical, or something like that, and then that's the belief you carry forward, saying I'm not good at art, and you're probably too scared to attempt because you have this belief that you're not good at it.
Yeah.
But just let go and express yourself, and if you practice, you just eventually get better. So I agree with you that
I think
you
what
started.
Kalyani just said is like the story of my life, basically. Because I remember I was like in school, and the school teachers in India who taught art were so strict. Ironically, the ones who were supposed to be kind and like creative were actually so strict, and they wanted their art in a particular way, which is so wrong, right? Because art is like about expression. And I remember I I nearly failed the drawing exam, or I was like on the borderline pass mark of the drawing exam, and I just decided that art was not for me. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, but it was like my belief that I'm not good at it.
Mm.
And I think like when I started going back into therapy at the age of 27, I decided to like pick up a paintbrush and draw something. And it was like, like what you said is so true about what is a hobby. A hobby is something you enjoy. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect at it or really good at it. I remember I used to go on these like arranged marriage dates, and a lot of times people would ask. I used to always say, I hate this question. What are your hobbies? It's like a classic boring date question. What are your hobbies? And I used to like hate this question because I always thought I don't have any. Like I'm not good enough at anything. But I think it's
Mm.
just a matter of doing something that you enjoy. And I don't see how you cannot enjoy like coloring into a mandala. um, you know and the other quick thing I wanted to add on was, before we move to the activity, is bringing back to what the session that we had last time, because she was talking about chanting. I remember, and I like there's repeated patterns. It's the same thing with drawing mandalas. There's a lot of mindfulness and calmness, because she said she does a lot of chanting with Krishna Das and like those kind of things. It's like helpful for her in her mindfulness. That's what Bhavna was saying last time, if you
Mhm.
remember, Kalyani. So I think it's like so true, and like brings back to that point, like doing something repetitive.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true. Like, there was actually there's an interesting story where somebody had joined in a class because their friend gifted them the mandala class, and they came with that preset notion in the mind that they won't be able to draw anything. um, it was a bit difficult to do the whole class with them because there was always a block in their mind that I won't be able to do this, and that was visible from the way they were sort of doing the session with me. So actually asked that person to pause for a minute, and I asked him to draw a square on a blank piece of paper, and then I told him that can you just take the Sharpie pen and color the entire square on the paper without sort of going outside the lines. And he did it. He took about a minute to do it, but he did it. And I said, if you think that you cannot make art, that's completely wrong, because on that piece of paper you have art in front of you. There is no set definition of what art is. I can challenge anyone who can say that there is a set definition to art. There's nothing. So even like a splash of paint on a blank canvas is art. So it just changed his perspective when I saw him finish that, and immediately saw a change in his attitude, because then the shapes that he was drawing, he put his heart and his mind into it. Because before that he was just doing it because he wanted to do it. It was a gift and he didn't want that gift to go as waste. So people need to understand that art is not making a masterpiece or a sculpture or something that's really beautiful to look at. Everything can be artful, and yeah, They just need to be acceptable of it, and they should be, kind towards themselves.
Perfect. Thanks, AK. We got in the chat, Kalashri saying that she always thought that she was not good at art, but she's able to draw henna or mehndi patterns, and now her hand is getting steady. So absolutely, that drawing mehndi or henna is an art, really. It is an art.
And it's a very difficult art. So hats off to you.
Because it's such a difficult medium. The cone, controlling the cone is a difficult medium.
Yeah.
So it's whatever you want to express through whichever medium, like you said. There is no set definition of art, and that's the beauty about art, I guess. That there is no definition. It's very fluid, so you can take it wherever you want, use it in any area of life if you want. So that's great. And Jayanti, do you want to add anything before we move on to the activity?
No, I think let's move to the activity. I'm quite excited about it.
Okay, so the exciting part of today, let's go to the activity that AK is going to host for us.
So, Kalyani, did you get a chance to put it in the chat about the paper and pen?
Yes, I did. We did put in the chat about keeping a paper and pen or pencil handy. So if you've got that, I hope you can get it ready now to do the activity. And if you have any questions, please put it in the chat box. And then we can chit chat a bit more about, once we finish the activity, about what we felt. Go, AK.
Just give me 1 minute to set this up. Kalyani, can you let me in? I am logging in through my phone as well so that I can show you guys my desk.
Yes. Yep, it should be there now.
Is my desk visible to you guys?
No, I can just see you. Okay.
I can see you.
Yes.
I can see the desk. Yeah, there it is.
Can we spotlight it for everyone if that's possible?
Yeah, that's done.
All right, great.
Can everyone see AK's desk? You can unmute and let me know.
I can't see it in Spotlight. Like I can see it in the gallery. So
can you see it now as a bigger video?
People can't. Oh yeah, I can see it now, but.
So I just pinned it.
Actually, when someone talks, it just comes out from the bigger window.
We can mute
yeah, if
everyone.
she's on the Spotlight, we'll just mute ourselves.
All right.
Maybe you can turn your, if AK turns her video, will it help or no?
Everyone pin the video.
Yeah. Everyone can pin the video themselves. I guess that will work better then.
So can you guys hear me all right?
Yep.
Okay. And now you can see the desk as well. Okay, sorry, that took a minute. All right, so what we're going to do here is that if everyone can just get a blank piece of paper and any kind of pen or a pencil, and what we are going to do is just draw a couple of shapes, and we're going to repeat some patterns. And I don't have enough time to teach you how to do a full mandala, but we can sort of just draw like a small, tiny pattern. So just anywhere in the center of the paper, just draw a circle of any size. And don't worry if it is not a proper circle. This is all hand drawn, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And when you're done drawing this circle, we're just gonna go inside and draw a smaller circle and keep going in till we reach the center and drop it in the center with a big dot like that. And this will give you a spiral in the center. All right, next we are going to draw a shape which everyone would know. So you know how we write the capital letter U? We are going to draw this upside down. We can call this inverse U as well. And we're just going to draw these capital U's around the whole circle. Again, don't worry whether they look symmetrical, of the same size or not. When you're done, we are going to repeat the same shape inside these U's. So again, a tiny U inside them. And we are going to color in all of them. When you're done painting all of these in blocks, solid colors, now we are going to draw a shape which is letter V. Now again, we write the letter V in caps like this, but we're going to do this in the opposite direction. And this will start from the middle of this shape and finish in the middle of the next U shape. And just draw this at a height and try and maintain the same kind of height for all of them. Next, we are going to put some lines inside all of these V shapes. So just starting from the center, draw a line dividing the V into two halves, and then just a couple of lines on both sides. Next, we're going to draw a spiral shape between these V shapes, which is very easy. Just start from any point. Start drawing a circle, but don't connect it, and keep going in and leave it in the center with a big dot, like we did here. And just start from the point here and draw the spiral in between. Finally, just to give a final touch to this, inside the circle in the spiral, just put a couple of big dots on the line, maintaining a bit of gap between them. When you're done, you'll have your first mini mandala pattern ready. And all it took was these 3 shapes.
Thanks so much, AK. I think I did an okay job. I'm trying to I got some imperfections, but it's all about embracing the imperfections, eh? So looks like Sachin and Kalyani did.
That's very
That looks
nicely.
neat. Yeah, that looks neat.
Absolutely, it's about embracing imperfections. Mine is far from perfect. But it was really, and because you mentioned AK, I was observing my breathing pattern closely, becoming more aware of my breathing. And like you said, when you are required to be a little bit more steady without breaking the spiral, you are breathing slowly, you're becoming more and more calm, your pulse rate is going, a very relaxed, steady rate.
Yeah.
So definitely, I can immediately sense the benefits.
That's amazing. And I would recommend that just following this kind of step and all of these shapes, you can just draw your own design. So you know how to draw a mini mandala now, freehand, and just doodle, practice, draw whenever you feel like. You'll see the
Yeah, I
benefit.
wonder if you can. Sorry to interrupt. I wonder if you can like just build on this by yourself with these shapes. I think you can just fill the whole page, and it will be like an hour of like just calmness.
You can definitely do that. And that's what mandala is, right? Because it starts from a dot right in the center, and then you just build on it with these different shapes. So just we are drawing this freehand, so you can doodle around it, you can add words around it, you can just do whatever you like and whatever comes to your imagination. Like I said, art form doesn't have any definition, so just play around with it, explore, and you'll have something beautiful on the page by the end of it.
You're getting some really good feedback. Thanks, AK. That's great. And for me, I mean, as you draw, you observe, the connections to nature or the environment around you. So if there are any chemistry enthusiasts, probably looks like a structure of an atom with a nucleus and electrons.
Yep.
For those who don't like chemistry, that's what I felt also.
I was thinking about biology, like a cell nucleus inside it.
And see, it is so interesting because I was looking at it like a cosmic, connection, different planets, different constellations in the sky, and a galaxy. So it's just how different minds can interpret one thing so differently, and that's the beauty of our minds, right? So yeah, that's how art can actually trigger creativity in it. And these days, even businesses are sort of getting more creative activities done for their teams, because it just enhances your analytical thinking as well. Because creativity is not just about the right side of your brain anymore. Creativity is how both sides of your brain communicate together and develop an idea. So yeah, just art can be so therapeutic, and also can help you with your analytical thinking, your creativity, and sort of help you in your professional lives as well.
That's absolutely right. I totally agree. And I think more and more businesses, companies, they're all realizing how much it will benefit employees in their productivity as well if both parts of the brain are talking to each other. And also, getting, when you're feeling like you're doing the same thing and looking at screens all the time, it's also refreshing to get away from gadgets when you do it on paper.
Yes, it is, definitely.
Perfect. Are we going to do anything else, AK, or can we go back to us?
Yep, you can definitely take it forward.
Okay, thank you so much.
I'm just a bit indulgent and busy in like just building on this, actually. It's hard to stop.
It is, yes. It can get very
So I want participants to please share. I mean, thank you so much for sharing your comments in the chat, but I want you to unmute and talk. And I think in the participants, I want to really invite Jyoti because she's done the class with AK. So Jyoti, do you want to share some of your experience with the class that you have done with AK?
Hello.
Hello, Jyoti.
Hi,
So nice.
Jyoti.
Sorry, I wasn't prepared for this, but I had great fun doing that
Just
class.
candid show.
Can you see me? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we
because
can.
I can-
Yes, we can.
So yeah, it was really fun doing that class with AK, and I have done a few bottles after that, and I've just been doing that and gifting my friends. So yeah, it's so nice. Everyone's like very surprised to see that you can create something on a bottle like that and in such a simple like a simple way, as well as it's beautiful. Just put a light inside it. And thanks so much for sharing that with us, AK. It was, yeah, it's something that, yeah, a gift that gives forever, that kind of thing. Yeah, I enjoyed this session too, so thank you.
I'm so
Thanks,
glad you enjoyed.
thanks a lot, Jyoti. And what a lovely idea to gift people something that you created, especially out of something that you were probably going to chuck away, and making, continuing the life of the product and making it so unique because it's handmade by you. I think there's so much added value in that. Does anyone else want to share anything? I think there's some comments there in the chat about where can we find AK's classes. So her website is called cosmicdots.com. So we'll put a link in the chat and you can check it out. She's got artworks that she's done. I think some of her artworks are on sale as well, and she's got a range of classes that you can check out on her website. Does anyone else want to share what they felt today?
Sorry, I'm busy. I'm still like building on this.
Oh, nice.
I think I'll just quickly add that it's not only for people who don't think they're not good at art. It's for people like me who think they're good at art, but they also learn so much. So I think it's definitely fantastic. I can't thank you enough, AK. I love doing that exercise.
I'm really happy that you enjoyed.
Yeah, I think I'm going to fill the page now with with my imperfect mandala, and then tag you on Instagram showing you my finished product, because I'm already feeling proud of it, and I'm like learning to embrace whatever is going wrong in it. I feel like in the also one thing that I feel like I'm learning with this process is like when you make a little, it's a little bit asymmetrical here and there. If you make the mandala big enough in the grand scheme of the mandala, a little mistake doesn't matter. Same thing
It
as life,
doesn't. Yeah. Even you yourself won't be able to point out where the mistake was.
Akanksha, it was a great experience listening to you and seeing you talk, and I'm absolutely overwhelmed with what all you have done today. And I'm very, very happy that we are related. And I'm sure that you have given everybody a lovely kind of thing to think about. Perfection is not necessary in art, is something people don't understand. And getting appreciation for your art is not necessary. Do it for yourself. I think it is amazing lessons that you have taught them, and I'm very happy I attended this session. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much for
much.
having us.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much, Geeta ji. Very heartfelt comments, and I'm glad that this session has been, so good and calming exercise for everyone. If anyone else would like to share, we'd love to hear, and how you found the, whether you found it relaxing, which part of it would you like to keep doing as well.
Yeah, Akanksha, I think it's a great initiative. I'll probably. Do you have online versions of the bottle making? Because I'm in Brisbane, So I don't know if I
Yes,
can.
actually, all of my classes are online and in person both.
Okay.
So, yeah, just drop me a message and I'll be happy to arrange something for you.
Yeah, because Christmas is around the corner, so I think it's time to make some handmade gifts for people.
Absolutely. And I think I loved AK has created gift boxes personalized as well, where she colored the box in a solid color and then she put mandalas on the boxes. So I think they were brilliant. So even if you're planning to gift, whatever you want to put it in the box, you can create that decoration on the box and the box will become a keepsake, I think, definitely.
Yes, it is actually a very good idea because I myself have 5 of those. I don't use anything. I don't put anything in them because I don't want to spoil them. But yeah, it's just pretty to look at.
Great, great. Um, if anyone else would like to share anything, I'm just looking at the chat. And AK, that's your website, right? Cosmic.com.
That's correct. Yes, thank
Yes.
you.
Okay. So there's the link there for the website, guys. Please check it out and you'll see all the different classes that she offers. So another good gift you can give is gift someone a class, AK's class, and I'm sure they'll enjoy it so much and they'll also experience the mindfulness that you did today. So I really, really want to thank AK for her time. She's busy and I know Christmas time, so I'm sure you've got lots of classes happening as well. So thank you so much for your time. Yes, and that's her Instagram. I am a big fan of AK's Instagram, especially when she puts videos. You really get lost. It's almost hypnotic in a very good way. So please do follow AK's Instagram. And I love when she does different mediums, and I love when you've used gold and like metallic colors as well. Really, really beautiful effect to the mandalas.
Thank you, Kalyani. You're very kind.
I say it in a very authentic way. Okay, it's really good. So thank you once again for your time, and thank you everyone for joining this evening. I hope you found it beneficial, calming. Have a nice week as the year is winding down. I'm sure everyone has got so much on their plate, and I'm sure, like me, most of you think, where has the year gone? So if you've also missed out any of Teja's past sessions, please visit our YouTube channel, Teja Discover Radiant, and you'll be able to find, it's becoming quite a repository of really nice videos and so many guest speakers that we've had in the past. So please do visit and connect with us. You can email us or visit our Instagram account and keep your feedback flowing. Also, let us know if you would like any particular sessions. And if you really enjoyed activity-based sessions, we are happy to look into more of activity-based sessions. So please stay in touch. And hopefully we can bring you one last session for the year. And I'm welcoming some ideas on it as well. And I'll see you then. Thank you. Take care. Have a good night. And thanks, AK, once again.